Hello everybody. With this guide I'm going to show you guys how to make gold quickly with fractals and the encryptions and the encryption keys and what to do to get them, how to get them quicker, and also how to get yourself up into the tiers, the higher tiers of fractals quickly. So let's go in here. Go to the fracs, doesn't matter which one, just enter in the lobby. So first I'm going to go over for kind of just for people that know about fracs and they're comfortable with these kind of, maybe they're in tier 2, 3, or 4. They just aren't exactly sure where the gold is coming from when people say you can make good gold in fractals. So first off, what you need to know, let me actually pop back up here, is with fractals, you want to make sure you're doing the dailies and the recommendeds each day. There's new ones each day after reset, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. So the dailies, if you go in here and go to the console, the dailies will have a purple icon next to them. I've done my dailies for today, so they're a little grayed out. They're not lighting up like they do. So basically with the dailies, you're going to have 3 dailies per tier, okay? And the dailies in each tier are going to be the same fractals. So Siren's Reef, Molten Furnace, and Deepstone. So each tier will have those 3 dailies in them, all right? Now tier 1 to 3 will have an extra daily, that's a daily recommended. So we can see if we hover over them, daily recommended. It's kind of hard to see because it's in dark purple, but believe me when I say it says daily recommended. So the Shattered Observatory is today's daily for tier 1. Tier 2 it is Solid Ocean. And tier 3 it is Sunqua. Tier 4 does not have a daily recommended, so sad, but the challenge modes do give you items that you can only get from the recommended. So eventually getting into the CMs would be nice for some people, but they're a little bit tougher, new mechanics for bosses. So and the CMs I'm talking about are primarily the last 3, not the other CMs that are available. So so you want to make sure you're doing your dailies. If you do tier 3 or you're at tier 4, any tier, if you were to do like I did, the tier 4 dailies, you get the rewards for all of these dailies as well. Okay, so whatever tier you're at, you get you only have to do that tier of dailies, and you get all the dailies below that. It's nice. A lot of loot, a lot of chests, a lot of chance at gear and gold, and materials and resources and currencies and whatnot. So the only thing you do have to go through the tiers for are the recommendeds. And the difference between those, real quick before we get into the topic at hand here, is making gold, is the recommendeds give you a item, I believe it's called Fractal Research pages or papers, and these you need these fractal research pages to create fractal research journals or books, and I think it's 18 of them or 12 or so that makes a book, but either way 28 of them makes a journal. Okay, so you need to make these journals, or well, you don't need to make the journals, but you need the pages for the Ascended gear. So that's always good to work on, even though it's not gold related. The recommendeds are worth doing every single time. So to make gold, when you go into fractals, if you do your dailies and your recs, you'll get a lot of keys and you'll get a lot of encryptions from finishing those dailies and recs each day. It takes about an hour or 2, not much time. I have a little over a stack of encryptions here in my inventory, not enough keys to open them, but when I do open them, I will get keys out of these, and it'll make up the difference probably, or close to it. So you'll probably never have enough keys to open all of what you have, because keys only come in certain chests, like the daily ones, and just a reward for that. Farming non-daily, non-recommendeds don't really give you keys, but they will give you encryptions. So first thing you want to do is, if you haven't already, the blue golem here on the third tab here sells keys. Okay, the 2 bottom keys are never worth it, to me at least. It just the resources that they cost aren't going to make up for what I could just sell the resource itself for. This is definitely not worth it. Or I just need that resource for something else. And stabilizing matrices are nice to have for some other things at Frac's. So you always want to get the discounted keys. Every day you can get 30 of them a day. Cheap. 6 gold for 30 of them. I believe I've gotten my 30 already though. I haven't. Okay, well great. Now I have 30 more. I got a little bit more for these encryption boxes here. So now that we have keys, you want to buy these every day if you can afford it. Buy those deeply discounted ones every day. After you're done with your fracks or something, and then go ahead and pop them open. So I have a stack, say a little over a stack. I could sell these on the trading post for 44 gold. It's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice price. Or I could open them. I could open them and see what's inside. So 45 gold. Let's see, I got 292. Let's see what we can get. What am I doing here? Consume all. Consumed them. I'm going to do what I have in here. And I'm going to pop all these open. See what we get. Just from Fractal Encryptions. And this stack took me probably, if I went through the dailies and recs each day, which takes about an hour, sometimes 2 if I have to pug a group, or you know, if the group's not doing too well, or there's just really long fractals. I'd say at most 7 days in tier 4. That's tier 4. Lower tiers, you're not going to be getting them as quick, but you're still going to be making really good profit if you know what to do with stuff. So you'll be getting trash items, trophy items, basically, which are the pages of stuff here, books and stuff. You'll be getting materials, which is nice. More fractal encryptions, which is always great. That's $6 worth of encryptions right there, just from that stack I open, and I can also open the rest of what I have, which will give me more keys. Plus ones, which are great. They don't sell for much, but you can convert them pretty cheap and make plus 9s. And even just use those for your gear, or just keep making higher and higher ones and sell them eventually for thousands of gold. Either way, we got these materials. Normally I don't sell the materials right away, and I'm not going to right now because I just cleaned out my storage a couple weeks ago, and I want to kind of build some stuff back up. But we got a bag there that gives you relics. I'll open that up. Nice, 69 relics. Couldn't have been a more perfect time than to get that amount. Mini Professor Muse, you can use them in a collection to unlock other ones that give you like achievements and stuff, but I usually just go ahead and sell them or offer them to a guild member, but everyone has these, so I don't need them anymore, and usually no one else does. So I just list them up there for anyone that still needs them. So anyway, I just deposit all my materials because I keep them. I could calculate them into this, but realistically, I'm not going to go through a stack of encryptions and sell that little amount of lower tier mats right away and really care much about that. So I have my plus ones. I'm out of storage for them, so usually I'll just sell them to instant. I know I'm not selling. I'm selling instantly. I really have come not to care much about listing things anymore, unless they're expensive items, just because someone has to keep the market right, and it's just I don't feel like going through that. Usually I'm in a fast process whenever I'm clearing stuff out. Don't need any of these anymore. So you have all this trash here. As you can see, when I hover over, it tells you how much gold these will sell for. These won't really sell for, you can't sell them on the trading post, so you sell them to just the vendor, and they're just quick. It's just quick gold. So let's see how much we made from a little over a stack of, forgot to open those.
Loot.
Sell, deposit, get out of my inventory. So let's sell these. Okay, it's going to be quite a bit. So 292. Alright, so 100, excuse me, I have a bit of a cold. 105 gold in probably a week for anyone running like tier 2, 3s if you're not hitting them hard every day. Maybe a little bit less if you're running tier 4s. Definitely less if you're doing CMs as well. So that's not bad. That is not bad. You usually get 10 to 20 gold a day if you're running them. Is usually my experience on tier 4s. If you're decently lucky with your drops. So other things, if you're really only concerned about gold and you're doing this just as a side gold farm, is to let me see if I even have any of these. Some other currencies and resources you'll get, or not currencies, but resources that you'll get doing this is these stabilizing matrices. So these sell for quite a bit. These are actually pretty profitable if you get these and keep them coming. So a stack is 75 gold. That's nice. That's a pretty good price. So those are nice. Let's see what else we get from here. You get the Agony Infusions. You get Tomes of Knowledge, which can help with leveling up alts quicker, or getting Spirit Shards quickly on level 80 because they give you they give you XP. Refined Alchemical Precipitate. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's another junk item that you can get in the tier 4 daily chests that I'm not sure how much they sell for on vendors. Probably like 5 or 10 gold, which is nice. You also can get things that are very rare to get, like the Endless Fractal Tonic, and that can go toward a lot of cool things, but for the most part you'll be getting pristine fractal relics, Agony Infusions, the boxes and the keys and the matrices. Those are really good to acquire a lot of. So if you haven't been in Fracs and you want to get in here and start doing this, a good way to come in here, and before I really go into this, I do have to say, if you're not used to endgame or harder PvE content, do some research. I'll try and put some links in the description of this video to like Snow Crow's website, Meta Battle, just different websites that can kind of give you an idea if you read through the stuff, the classes and stuff, builds and stuff like that you can that are better to bring into different types of content. If you really read through them, you can get a good idea of where to start and how to approach a decent build just to get through certain content. Like when I need to do fractals, I'm going to use a good PvE build on all of my characters because I'm not, I want to make sure my team succeeds and I'm not, slowing anyone down because time is important and we want to get through these and have fun doing it. So big numbers are fun. So anyway, to get in here, if you haven't done fractals or you're new to fractals, a good way to start is just come in here, hit Y, open your LFG, looking for group menu here, go to Fractals of the Mist, initiate scale, that's tier 1, 2, 3, 4. So go to tier 1. Any of the tier 1s you can do without agony resistance. If you don't know what agony resistance is infusions, which were the +1s I was talking about earlier, that you put in your gear. So if you see, let me just find, I don't think I have any, just +9s. No. So if you just look here, I have +11s in here for some reason, and you're going to be using +9s. Everyone should be using +9s. I'm just using +11s because I'm ridiculous. And I think I crafted them a couple times just to see if I could, and I did. And I was like, okay, I'll just equip them. So you want to get +9s, and you get +1s from just doing fractals. It doesn't matter if they're the dailies or not. You'll get +1s dropped, and you'll loot them, and you'll become full of inventory from them eventually in your or bank space, resource space, material storage. Trying to say material storage. And when you get them, when you get +1s, you can go to this vendor and you can convert them into +9s. So this is the best part tab right here. Just use the first tab. If you have +3s, you can convert +3s into 9s, which drop sometimes. 5s, 7s convert into 9s as well, and 9s convert into 11. And then all this extra stuff, which you don't need to worry about because it's very expensive to get into the statted infusions. You can check that out. Maybe I'll put that in another video. So the +1s, a little over a stack of them and 4 gold gets you a +9. So you want to make your +1s and the +9s and just kind of keep doing this and get as many +9s as you can. That'll fit into all your gear whenever you get enough ascended gear if you don't already have ascended gear. You can also buy them off the trading post for like 6 gold, I think is what they're at right now. So they're not really expensive, but they are. So when you start doing fractals and you get into the tier 1 and you're starting to do them, you're going to get these things called fractal relics and pristine fractal relics. So these are currencies. The fractal relics are like gold in fractals, right? You just get it no matter what, basically. You just get them and get them and get them. Pristine fractal relics are, I believe, only from the daily fractal chests. I believe you only get them from them. Either way, they're difficult to acquire, and it's going to take a few days to really make use of them if you want to make use of them quick. I don't have a whole lot right here. This is maybe, I don't know, maybe a week or so of them, maybe a little bit more. Can't remember the last time I spent them. But when you get them, if you don't have any ascended gear to get into tier 2 to get more rewards, that's why you go up in the tiers, just to get more rewards in your chests and get more chests from the previous tiers that you don't even have to do anymore. You want to get ascended gear and you want to slot them with agony resistance infusions so you can get higher in the tiers. So one of the first things you can do if you don't have ascended gear, and even if you do have ascended gear, your rings and your back piece are your most important, I'll call them accessory items, just any of the items that are located in these 6 slots. I actually just call them trinkets because these are accessories technically. So accessories, rings, amulet, back piece. The trinkets and the amulet not so much because the amulet can't even take AR. It can only take the enrichments, but your rings and your back piece can have more than 1 slot. So you can make your rings 3 slotted and you can make your back piece 2 slotted. So this is awesome because when you're starting, you can instantly jump. You can basically, if you don't have any ascended gear, you can jump into tier 2 in just a few days of doing dailies and recs. Because after getting pristine relics, you can spend 10 of them for rings. So you can get 2 rings. Don't buy 2 of the same named rings. So if you want to go berserker stats for a power build, you would buy a crystalline band and a red ring of death. They're the same stats, just a different name. The reason you do this for if you're equipping them on the same character is because they're unique. If you buy 2 red rings of death or ring of red death, you can't equip both of them in the same person. So I couldn't have 2 of them here. I could only have 1 because they're unique. So you just buy 1 of each name. Okay, and that goes for all of the other stats. Each one will have 2 copies of it, just with a different name. Now these rings are great. They only come with 1 infusion slot. However, I'll also link this in the description. If you go to Wikipedia and you look up I forgot what it was called now. How to infuse, or how to attune and infuse a ring, and you could do a backpack as well, into Wiki or Google. It'll pop up and basically bring you to the page that shows you what items you need to buy, which is only a few silver, it's under a gold, to put a second infusion slot in your ring. Now, it gets a little complex with the adding infusion slots because there's 2 ways to do it, and you can only do one of those ways once per ring. So these rings were, they came with 3 because they're legendary, but a normal ring will come with 2, or 1. Sometimes they come with 2 if they're pre-infused, like if they're a drop from fractals, which is always possible, or they'll just come with 1. So before that, you can also get into here in this tab, and these are a little more expensive than the other rings and the amulets and the accessories. But these mist accessories, or trinkets, whatever you want to call them, are the best ascended trinkets in the game. You can get these in World vs. World, in PvP, and in Fractals, I believe. I don't think there's anywhere else you can get them. I actually think you can. I think there's a vendor that is in Dragonfall that might have not missed accessories, but they do have stat selectable accessories. So these are stat selectable. You can select any stat you want for them in the game, new or old, which includes like vipers and stuff, things that are hard to craft or that require specific things, and they don't normally come in other gear selections. So these are very cool. You can also, once per item, so if you have like a bunch of these, you can do it once per, you can stat change them with a mist capacitor. So you can stat change it once, any of these, which is nice if you ever need to stat change something on the fly. And they come with 2 infusion slots for the rings, so it's going to be very cheap to put that 3rd slot in. So to put these slots in, you will, I'll still link a description, but you'll basically come over here. I believe you need 1+1 Agony, which you should have. You need one of these. I think for the first one you need this, and I think something, and the ring, I think. You have to double check, but it has to do with this page. I know it's one of these, and I think it's one of these as well. A little bit of, you get a +1, and the ring itself, you throw it in the Mystic Forge in Lion's Arch, or wherever you want to go to a Mystic Forge at, and that'll create the same ring. It'll give you the same ring back, but it'll have an extra slot in it. The more expensive way to do it, which the first time you do it, you'll do it for cheap. The second time you do it, you have to do it the more expensive way. So the best thing in this case is just to leave rings at 2 and wait till you get a ring that has 2 slots base, like if you loot it from a frac or something, or buy one of those missed ones. That way it's not very, like, I mean, it's very expensive compared to the first way that you can infuse a ring. Same thing goes for backpacks. I think it's kind of the same steps, same process to infuse a backpack. You just have to wiki it, or click the links in my description. I'll add them in there. So that right there can get you two rings, just a couple days of tier 1s, 2 rings, 2 ascended rings with two slots in them very quickly, very easily, and well, 4 slots total. So 4, and you're going to put +9s in them. So 4 times 9, that's quite a bit. 36 gold, or 36 gold, 36 agony resistance, which you can also see right here in your attributes page. So you'll see that, and this number might not show up outside of Frac. Sometimes it bugs out and shows up when you come in, not when you're out. So you might have to experiment with that if you're like, why is there no agony on me? And you basically just double click the agony, pop them in there. I'll just fake do it, and then you can just click and it'll go in. And then you have agony, so you can get up to 36 very quickly, just by spending some pristines on those. And pristines are nice to have. I think it's great to get a head start on tier 2s. You could start tier 2s with 36 agony, and do pretty well. You don't think you can do all of the tier 2s, but you can check the dailies each day and see which ones you're able to do. A good rule of thumb for me that I've always used is if you're going in and you don't have, like if you're going into tier 2 and the last one is 6, you need 61 AR. On the top right of that pop out window there, it says 61. That's the recommended amount of agony resistance you need to be in here. And it's nice to have at least 10 under or 15 agony under. So you could do pretty much half a tier 1 just by getting 36. You could almost do all of it. I'd bargain going up to uncategorized over here, maybe in Solid Ocean, just because those are too easy. Aether Blade's also a pretty easy fractal. All 3 of these are, so I'd probably say you could probably go up to this. These, however, the last 3 are always a little difficult for a lot of groups. So are some of the other ones, but these are the most difficult usually in any tier. So you get up there pretty quick, and then all you have left is just to get some more ascended gear, which you'll get drops in Fracs. You could do some other stuff for them. Get the Calib Ball if you have the right. If you want to use those weapons, that's a free ascended weapon. Certain types of weapons, of course, so you can get a free ascended backpack from the POF storyline. A lot of different ways to get really good ascended gear for basically nothing, for a few hours of work. And then you just start farming. You just start doing this. You do this once a day for the dailies and the recs, and you make some good gold from it. Another good farm while we're in here, I'll talk about real quick, is the Tier 2 Captain Mitron level 42 farm. This one is great because it's such a low tier, you don't really need much to get in there. However, when you do it, you will need to collect some keys beforehand so you can open up all the encryption boxes, which is how you make the gold. This is, I believe, still the best farm in the game at 40 to 50 gold per hour. Don't let anyone tell you different. The only way I think anyone's going to make more than that is doing something, let's say like Auric Basin, and just getting materials and stuff and calculating that every hour, which is probably like 15, 20 gold. And you might hit a rare, a rare drop or something like an infusion or something that's like hundreds or thousands. But I think that'd be the only exception to beating this farm. Is just the chance of getting a really nice drop, some good RNG. So this is a great one if you're decked out and you just need something better to farm real quick. Run in here for an hour or two, man. It's very quick. When people do this farm and they advertise it, I don't really see a lot of people advertising it in LFG, but when people do, I went in the raids. People are usually trying to speed run it in like 5 minutes, which is completely possible because of the tier it's on. And if people are just stacking on Mitron on the two bosses there in Horic, if they're just stacking on there, getting heals, getting stability, getting boons, and just doing damage and not moving at all, you can get in and out of there super quick. Don't even worry about the ads, stuff like that. So you just have to be able to survive all that if you're not used to if you're not used to doing it, it's going to be a little sketchy because there's a lot going on, but in reality, you really don't have to move anywhere in that hole in Captain Mitron doing that Fractal. You just stand in one place, maybe side shuffle a couple times for the bombs that throw out, but for the most part, you just stand still. Not much movement involved. And then you just exit out, go back and keep doing that. It's a little too repetitive for me. That's why I just stick with daily fracs for the most part, but it's a good farm. I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in terms of making gold. I'm sure there's some other ways to make gold in fractals that I may not know about, but this is by far just the easiest, most passive way to do it while doing dailies and your recommendeds. You build multiple things while you're doing this gold. Currencies in fractals, which are used for so many different things in here, can help you out with stuff. You can get clovers every day from it. You can start working on ascended gear from it, all of this stuff, which is super cheap to get. You can also get ascended gear from inside the fractals pretty regularly. If you're doing dailies every day, probably, a couple every week, you'll start making your ascended weapons. I know when I first started, just maybe to give some confidence to people, when I first started this game, it was very close to 2 years ago now, in February, it'd be 2 years. I met some people that were running fracs in tier 1 because when I got to level 80, I wanted to run some endgame dungeon type content like mythics from WoW, and I started running them, and they were basically running me through the first couple times because I leveled an elementalist first, and I did not know how much concentration I needed to play it, and how fast I had to train my fingers after I could actually get a good rotation on it a year later or so. So I started, and they would run me through and help me out because their real life friend, was starting as well. So I joined them and kind of didn't get carried, but I had two, pretty knowledgeable players I've been playing for about 6 months that knew what they were doing and knew the ins and outs of fracs pretty decently well to kind of get me introduced to it, which is a great thing to do. If any of you guys don't have people like that, find a guild. People love helping. I do. I run tier 1s and tier 2s all the time in LFG just to help people out, and I'm bored sometimes, and just see if people can help. And when I first started doing it, it took me about a month just because I had absolutely nothing. It took me about a month to get my first full ascended set. I think I actually did that on my on my second character, which was a thief, because Elementalist wasn't working out for me when I first started doing endgame content, like 2 weeks into the game, 3 weeks into the game. So I got my first Ascended set on, and weapons and accessories, in about a month, give or take a few days or so. And it was awesome. And then I just kept doing it. I got more gear. I got more Fractal research pages, stuff like that. And just kept buying gear from this guy here. You will have to level a craft if you're tailor, or if you're light armor, you're gonna have to do tailoring and, you know, leather working, and what's the last one? Armor smithing for your respective gear types, your weight classes. But that's not difficult. Fast leveling one of these, I'll try and remember to link a guide to that. The good website to do for that, you gotta get up to 500, if I remember correctly, in one of those to be able to craft these Grandmaster marks, which have a daily cooldown. You can only do one a day if you craft them, because there's a material you can only craft once a day. You can craft as many Grandmaster marks as you want a day, but the material used to craft them, which there's only one of them, is once a day. So while you're crafting these, you're going to be slowly getting these fractal pages, so you don't need these right away. It'll take time to get both of these, but not that much time. You can just start buying stuff, buying Ascended gear for yourself, or weapons if you want the weapons too. You'll also get Ascended gear and weapons and accessories dropped in the fractals you're doing. And when you get them, don't if you're in tier 1 or tier 2 and you're doing a simple roll, like well, really any roll. I mean, even if you're just healing, you know, and if you're healing, or if you're doing power damage or whatever you're doing, and you get gear that drops for you, and it's not the right stat, don't worry about it. Just use it. You can get more AR. You can move up the ranks in AR. You won't be taking damage from the agony that ticks on people pretty much constantly from time to time in fractals. And you can just keep moving up the tiers. And you can also stat swap Ascended gear. You can change the stats pretty easily, pretty cheap. It's actually the recommended thing to do when you're doing like a Condi build. Is with Vipers, you basically just somehow, however you feel like it, or whatever you can do, get Ascended gear, and then just stat swap, like get Ascended Berserker gear, because everyone uses Berserker. It's the main power set, power stat, and it's there's plenty of it, so it's usually not expensive to get, you know, Berserker Ascended, or crafted even, and just stat swap it to Vipers. It's kind of silly, but Vipers is, for some reason, just like one of the best, what is the best PvE Condi stat, but it's just so expensive to craft and stuff. But anyway, I think that about does it for the guide. If anyone has questions or wants to see anything else explained in any of my next videos I do, just kind of doing this off a whim, because EOD is coming up, and I feel like there's some good information to be put out there before then, to get people ready and excited, and get their gold up and stuff for the new legendary grind that we're going to be having with these weapons. Just leave it in the comments, and I'll try and make another video, or I'll try and reply to you guys if you just ask questions. And you also